Hey guys, Monochrome here. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. Genuinely good to have you. Bear with me guys, I've been battling a really bad cold these last 2 weeks and it just continues to linger on. That's why my voice sounds different, but please bear with me. Today we're going to take a look at something really small but handy. What you're looking at here in the closed position is the custom Statgear Pocket Samurai folding knife. And yes, it is very small. It's basically a novelty knife, but it's actually a sharp, useful, surprisingly well-constructed little knife. So let's just get right into it. As you can see, it's quite thick with an open pillar design, blade centering, perfect. Up here at the top, you do have a lanyard hole, and Statgear, as well as the company on Etsy that sells this knife, promotes this as a keychain attachment. And indeed, this knife in the closed position can be placed onto a split ring. However, here's the problem. One side straight to the other. So what you need is a rather thin split ring, but one with an extremely wide opening. This is not something for a small split ring, unfortunately. Although if you don't want to use the lanyard attachment, you do get a pocket carry clip. The thing is, though, this is not a low-profile clip. A good chunk of it, as you can see, sticks up out of the pocket. And with the short length and its very lightweight construction, I can see how some people might be a little leery of using the pocket carry clip. But it's sturdy, it doesn't wobble. Now, this is small enough that you could use this like a money clip, but personally, I don't like the idea of using very small knives with pocket carry clips as money clips. The main problem is, if you walk into a post office with something like this, technically it could be classified as a concealed carry weapon. And keep in mind, post office is federal. So you could conceivably end up facing federal charges for bringing in something this tiny that you had no intention of using the blade. Yeah, it's silly, but it's situations like that one why I don't advocate using very small knives with pocket carry clips as money clips. If you want a money clip, there are a lot of really good designs out there. I know, trust me. The problem with the clip as a pocket carry clip, besides the fact that it's not low profile, and on something this short in the closed position, you'd be better off with a low profile clip. But yeah, the main problem with this one is it's tip up carry, which a lot of people will like. The vast majority of folks out there prefer tip up carry, but the problem is it's one position only. So if you're right-handed, and you prefer tip-up carry, you're good. Otherwise, yeah, one position only, unfortunately. Now these somewhat attractive handle scales, this looks like black ABS plastic with the X pattern, and that X pattern, it's not 100% for show. There is the tiniest bit of traction, even though it doesn't look like it. But yeah, tiniest bit of traction. Although I don't recommend using this knife if your hands are wet or sweaty. And yeah, these handle scales that look like black ABS plastic, nope, aluminum. That's right. And the nice thing is, even though I chose the black, you can get this knife in a variety of different handle color options, some of them quite bright. The red handle color option in particular looks very nice. I'm not one for flashy colors when it comes to my EDC gear, so I went with the black aluminum. But you do have good color options. Further down, pivot pin. And here you see the very narrow, long, tiny thumb stud. Yep, it's only on one side, but you might be able to reverse this onto the other side. I haven't tried it. Again, this knife is predominantly made for a right-handed individual. And the problem is, I mean, if you take a look at that, the blade is recessed all the way into the handle in the closed position, and that thumb stud is basically right up against the handle scale. So the positioning of this makes this tiny knife very difficult, although not impossible, to thumb open with one hand, although you're not going to be able to flick it open. This is one of those where you put your thumb on top of the thumb stud and carefully open it up and ride it open all the way forward. So if you're looking for a very tiny keychain knife that you can thumb open with one hand, this is not the model for you. It's just way too skinny, and the thumb stud is too uncomfortable. I mean, it looks like a miniature tactical folder. It's not. It's really not. This is just a very small Tonto blade shaped utility knife. And if that's what you're looking for, that's great. Some of you might be thinking, well, I could just buy a very small box cutter that slides in and out. Yeah, you could, but keep in mind, a lot of jurisdictions actually ban specifically the carrying of box cutters. Yeah. Back in the 1990s, at least in my neck of the woods, it was very fashionable for young men and women, most of whom raised in the ghetto. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I don't care. I tell it like it is. Yeah, they used to walk around with box cutters, especially thin box cutters, and just slash each other across the face. Yeah, the guys and the girls. Got so bad that in a lot of jurisdictions, not just mine, they banned carrying box cutters. You can still buy them, You can take them home and use them, or if your job requires them, take them to work and use them. Don't carry them. Don't carry them. So let's say you need something like a small box cutter on a daily basis, and you live a very minimalist lifestyle, but you don't really need a tactical one-hand opening folding knife. Well, something like this might be ideal for you because no one's going to mistake this for a box cutter. It's not a box cutter. It's an actual novelty, tiny samurai sword folding knife. That's what it is. But despite the novelty aspect, it's functional. So let's just open this up. And yeah, I'm not going to use the thumb stud. Now, the retention inside the handle is very good. I've only had this for a few weeks, but you really don't have to worry about something like this accidentally opening up in your pocket because the blade is retained inside the handle quite well. There's no locking mechanism in the closed position, but yeah, that blade seems to stay put if you want it closed. So let's just open this up. Yeah. Now, this is made by Statgear, but it's sold on Etsy. And you guys know me, I normally don't recommend sellers on Etsy. Way too many con men, and Etsy does a terrible job of weeding them out. Etsy doesn't care. I recommend not using Etsy unless you're willing to take a chance on getting cheated, or if you're dealing with a seller you've dealt with before and they've always come through. So there is the Tonto blade. Now, this blade is only 2 inches long. Guys, as usual, I will have specs in the description box below, but the blade itself is 2 inches long, Tonto shaped. Not quite sure if you can see that, but it does have a bit of a belly. And the blade is actually, let's see if you can see that. Yeah. The blade is 440C, which I found rather surprising considering the overall low price tag. I was expecting 440A, but no, this is 440C stainless steel, one of the best traditional stainless steels out there. So rust is not going to be an issue on this knife. The spine is somewhat thick for something that is overall as thin as this knife is. Now, here's the thing I really like about this knife, and there's a reason why I'm showing you this side. When you order this knife from CurateNYC, and full disclosure, I am just a customer. I am not affiliated with them in any way, shape, or form. I bought this with my own money, as usual, on my channel. That's right. No one sponsors me, no one owns me. But if I find something I like, I share it with you guys. So it's CurateNYC. I will have the proper spelling in the description box below as well. And the thing I really like about this novelty knife is that it comes in a nice blister pack, as you can see here, and free engraving. That's right, free engraving. I didn't show you guys the other side of the blade because my initials are engraved on it. But yeah. Not only free engraving, but they engrave the knife and then they put it in the blister pack. How cool is that? Seriously. Okay, it's not a full-blown tactical knife. You're not gonna conquer the world with it, but imagine gifting someone something like this. Obviously, we're talking someone responsible. You gift them something like this. It comes inside the blister pack, and then when they open it, oh wow, my initials are on it. Hey, wait, this was inside the blister pack. Exactly. This would make a really good gift. And on this side, you can see the thumb stud. There's some Chinese characters above my index finger, and my index finger is covering up my initials. I don't want to share that, guys. Sorry. But yeah, that's where they engrave it. I went with just my 2 initials. And I'll say this, the engraving is not very deep, but it is visible. And overall, considering the low price tag and the free engraving, it's done really well. It really is. So I like that. Lock mechanism, stainless steel, liner lock, and as you can see on my example, it engages really well. It's not all the way over. I'd say that engages at about 30%, which is what you want. I mean, eventually that liner lock is going to float over to the right, but it is thick enough that you don't have to worry about the blade coming down on your fingers. Honestly, the liner lock on this knife is actually thicker than I've seen on knives twice its size or even 3 times. I mean, I've seen some really large folding knives that had some really pathetically thin liner locks that I did not trust at all. This one, for such a small knife, very thick liner lock. And yeah, unfortunately, you don't get any other blade options. It's Tanto or nothing, or Tanto as some people like to pronounce it. But even with that limitation, this is a really good small knife. Biggest issue, if you want to attach it to a split ring, you're gonna have some problems considering how thick that is. Yeah, one side to the other, very thick. I wouldn't bother. You can use the clip, or this is something that's so small, you could just toss it into a pocket and carry it. And so incredibly lightweight. I actually bought a digital scale so that I could weigh all of the knives, flashlights, and other EDC gear that I review for my channel, because finding out the weight is sometimes so difficult. So I bought a digital scale and I calibrated it properly. This thing, just under 1 ounce, not even joking. This is literally a hair under 1 ounce. Very useful, not the most pragmatic, but again, if you practice a minimalist lifestyle and you just want something that's useful, you don't give a damn about one hand opening, this might be it. This might be it. Okay, guys, That's all for today. I really hope you enjoyed this review. Overall, I can't recommend the knife entirely. Again, people, minimalist EDC lifestyle, and one hand opening, not important for you. This might be a good choice. Everyone else, I'd have to say no. Customer service from CurateNYC, excellent. Hopefully that doesn't change. All right, guys, stay safe out there. I'll see you soon. Please take care.